In the final battle against the evil Saiyans, Yamoshi managed to break through and unlock the legendary Super Saiyan transformation, but it wasn't enough. The pure-hearted Saiyan was slain, but his soul wanders the universe in search of the Super Saiyan God. On planet Vegeta, Kakarot is born to Bardock and Gine. But for some reason, at random times, Kakarot's hair would turn red. No one knew what it was. A disease, perhaps. All they knew was his power was insignificant as an infant, and even more so when the red hair started. His parents would eventually send him off to Earth when Bardock got worried about Frieza's intentions. Son Gohan would take care of Kakarot, now known as Son Goku. Goku would not control this power. He just knew his hair turned red sometimes for no reason. The story wouldn't change much at the start. Goku would hit his head, he would kill Grandpa Gohan, meet Bulma, and fight all his battles normally. Whenever his hair turned red, he would beat his opponent with a single hit. During the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, he fought Jackie Chun in the finals. And when he was about to lose, his hair changed color and he gained the strength to stand and take out Roshi. When he fought Tao Pai Pai, his hair turned red when he was about to get hit with a Dodan Ray. But he took no damage and was suddenly able to best Tao. None of this made sense to him, but it all gets a lot clearer when he encounters Kami, the god of Earth. He had been waiting for Goku to meet him for some time now. Kami informs him of the threat of Piccolo Jr., and to ensure his victory, he needs to learn how to control the power of that red-haired form. Kami is pretty much the lowest level a god can be, but he still has some ability to sense God Ki, much like how Dende did. Being able to do this would give him an idea of what Goku's power is. He trains Goku more so spiritually and mentally than physical training. Strengthening his mind and its fortitude is the key to learning how to control this red-haired power. Though it does take a few years to get there. His base power level would be much weaker than it was, but having access to the red-haired form would allow him to easily best Piccolo, leaving the Namekians bewildered at the fact that he was beaten so easily. Why couldn't he sense Goku's power? What happened? It seemed that whenever his hair turned red, his power spiked, but not in the normal sense. Piccolo couldn't wrap his head around it, but he knew he had to train, and train he did, much more vigorously than original. Goku would marry Chi-Chi and have Gohan after the tournament, the half-Saiyan also born with the same power that Goku has. Though knowing about the form and how it works would cause Goku to train Gohan early on. He needed to be able to strengthen his mind to learn to use it, or this power could cause catastrophe. Gohan would mostly meditate, and Chi-Chi wouldn't really mind because in a sense, Goku was strengthening his mind rather than physically training him. Eventually a reunion would come to be and Goku's brother would attack Kame House, but things take a turn when Raditz attempts to take Gohan away. For a split second, Gohan's hair would turn red and he's able to punch Raditz miles away. Goku tells Krillin to take care of Gohan as he flies away in pursuit of Raditz. Piccolo watches from a distance. Goku walks up to his so-called brother and activates God Ki, turning into a Super Saiyan God. Raditz is shocked. What is this power? Why can't his scouter detect anything? He shouts to Goku that if he kills him, then Vegeta and Nappa will come to Earth and destroy him. But Goku remains unconcerned. He tells his brother to join him, but Raditz is stubborn. He refuses to believe Goku holds claim to this power and attempts to fire a double Sunday at him. Unfortunately for Raditz, it doesn't do anything. Goku instead propels it back, and before it kills him, Raditz claims that Goku is the legendary Super Saiyan. Hearing this, Vegeta and Nappa head to Earth, and Bulma hears it through the scouter. The Z-Fighters train, but considering Goku is alive and with the power he has, they aren't that worried. Goku knows he needs to train, even with this power. He doesn't really care if he can beat them, all he wants to do is get stronger. So he seeks out the one person that can match his base form, Piccolo. But Piccolo isn't the only one Goku wants to train with. He also brings along Gohan. It's time that his sons start learning how to actually use his power. Most of the time is spent in their base forms, Piccolo and Goku fighting each other, and occasionally Gohan would attempt to fight but get knocked back. He would lose control and rage out using God Ki and blowing the others away. Gohan's power is different than Goku. It has a lot more rage behind it. It needs to be controlled. A year with Gohan's age is not enough, but they make strides. Piccolo and Goku both getting much stronger in the base forms, with Goku getting closer to a power level of 9,000 while Piccolo reaches 12,000. Considering that Goku isn't spending 6 months traveling Snake Way, and half of the time he actually does train to learn Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb, his power would be higher even without gravity training. Vegeta and Nappa don't stand a chance, though that doesn't stop them from trying to fight. Nappa's the first to step up. Goku smiles and tells Gohan to take care of him. He's scared, but he believes in himself a lot more because his father is in his corner, encouraging him to do it. Gohan fights Nappa and the two trade blows and attacks, with Gohan even using a Kamehameha and a Masenko in the fight. But it isn't enough. When Nappa launches a mouth beam at Gohan, his hair would turn red and he would slap it away. Gohan looks angrily at the brute of a Saiyan, who can't believe his eyes. What is this? Was Raditz telling the truth? But how? Is there more than one Super Saiyan? Nappa's life would end before he got any answers on that front. Vegeta has a look of shock on his face. He looks at Goku and demands that he show his so-called power. When he does, Vegeta isn't amused. So it's just red hair like his son's? Vegeta begins to laugh. You think that's enough to stop me? Vegeta powers up and rushes towards Goku, but without even flinching, Goku simply steps to the side, dodging the attack. Vegeta looks back, but he gets punched so hard in the stomach that it makes him cough up blood. He's almost immobilized with a single blow. He looks at Goku in anguish, but Vegeta won't give up that easy. He steps back and starts to form a ki blast in his hand. It's his signature Gallic gun. Vegeta jumps up, now making the attack a threat to the planet, but Goku still isn't concerned. As the Gallic gun comes for him, he takes it head on, putting his hand forward and firing a small ki blast at it, dissipating the attack. Vegeta can't believe it. How is this possible? How is his strongest attack nothing to Goku? He still isn't ready to give up. Vegeta has one more trick up his sleeve, the artificial moon. He launches it in the sky and turns into a great ape, thinking there was no way anyone could beat this. But he couldn't be more wrong. Goku has dealt with this before, when Gohan turned into one during their training. He simply punches Vegeta one time and cuts off his tail. But Goku doesn't want to kill him, especially when Vegeta starts mumbling about someone named Frieza. He passes out, and when he wakes up, it's in a capsule core bed, Goku standing over him. Vegeta is aggravated. He can admit his defeat, but it doesn't come easy to him. Goku asks him who that Frieza guy is he was mumbling about, and Vegeta informs him of what transpired in his life before coming to Earth. He tells him that Frieza is an emperor who likely destroyed planet Vegeta, their home, and has been forcing him and his crew to do his dirty work for the last 2 decades. Goku is unsure, but he reads Vegeta's mind, a trick that he learned from Kami. Understanding Vegeta's pain, he gives him a senzu bean, which gives Vegeta a sizable Zenkai. Vegeta looks at Goku, asking him what he plans to do, to which he responds, "We're going to take the fight to this emperor. Maybe he can finally give me a challenge." Being this strong didn't exactly give joy to Goku. Sure, he was powerful, but there was no challenge to him. There was nothing that could excite him, so he wants to test out this Frieza guy's power. He and Vegeta inform Bulma of the mission, and she makes a gravity room in the spaceship. Gohan doesn't come along on this mission with them. He instead stays back with Piccolo, who Goku can somewhat trust now. Or at least Gohan trusts him. Goku and Vegeta head out and train the entire way there. They're going to one of Frieza's planets, the one he's most likely on. Given that there was no Dragon Ball talk, Frieza isn't looking for them. He instead awaits the Saiyans' return. Goku and Vegeta would get much more powerful from this trip. Let's say it still takes about 6 days, which would mean that the two would get Goku's 10 times multiplier. But we do have to take into account the fact that they have a training partner in each other, so that would bump it up to say 15 times. Goku at a power level of 10,000 would now be at 150,000, and Vegeta, who was originally at 24,000, would now be at 360,000. Goku's power would be less than the latter's, but this competition would keep him going. When they arrive on the planet, Frieza is in the main headquarters, and to get to him, they have to get through the armada of soldiers. Vegeta takes this as the appetizer, firing ki blasts and blowing holes through any soldier that stood in his way. Goku didn't want to involve himself in the killing, so he stood by, only acting when he was required to. Garban and Midoriya are told by Frieza to check in on what's happening and to stop it. But when Vegeta sees them, they aren't left alive much longer. The Ginyu force is also called in, but they'll take time to get there, so Frieza has to step forward. Goku argues with Vegeta on who should fight, and Vegeta ends up winning the rock, paper, scissors match. He looks at Frieza ready to demolish him, to pay him back for all the pain he's caused. He powers up and goes to punch the Emperor, but Frieza catches the attack. Oh my, is this all you have to offer? He punches Vegeta back so hard that it sends him through a plethora of ships. Vegeta, resilient as ever, won't back down though. He fires a Gallic gun that leaves an imprint on Frieza's hand, but once again he's knocked down with a death beam, this one settling him down for good. Without the various Zenkais he had received on Namek, this Vegeta would be far weaker, giving him no chance against Frieza. Though he is given a senzu by Goku, but told to stay back as it's his turn. Goku eyes down Frieza. Maybe this will be a challenge. He realizes that he'll have to use his God form, and he does so. When Frieza sees this, it gives him flashbacks of why he destroyed planet Vegeta in the first place, the Super Saiyan. The Super Saiyan God. He grunts. What is this power? As he says this, Goku appears in front of him. I'm not so sure, but it's strong enough to beat you. As he says this, Goku lands a knee to Frieza's stomach. He hurtles back, falling down on his knees and screaming, "You're going to pay for that, monkey!" Frieza begins to power up. 1 million, 10 million, 50 million, his power continuing to rise as he reaches his final form. Frieza faces off against Goku. The Battle of the Ages commences as Goku and Frieza start to trade blows. He soon realizes that even though Frieza is powerful, he could easily beat him if he went all out. Goku holds back and enjoys the fight, smiling as it happens, which only ticks Frieza off. He fires a death beam at the Saiyan, which Goku slaps away. A death ball, which Goku propels back, forcing Frieza to use all of his power just to dissipate it. Goku appears in front of him with a punch to his face and a kick to send him crashing down to the ground. He appears above Frieza, a ki blast forming in his hand. Stand down. Last chance. Frieza shouts never and proceeds to wrap his tail around Goku's leg, but he activates his aura to send the Emperor back. Goku sighs and fires the blast, killing Frieza. He goes back to an angry Vegeta and leaves the planet. though a ship from a distance trails behind them. Goku and Vegeta would arrive back on Earth, and Vegeta would get with Bulma while Goku spends his days training alongside Gohan and Piccolo. Vegeta does wish to learn this mysterious power that Goku and Gohan have, which he refers to as the Super Saiyan. He tries to unlock it, but when all fails, he resorts to seeing Goku for help. This is something Vegeta would never imagine doing, and Goku can see that, so he actually offers to help, seeing that Vegeta has certainly changed since they met. Goku explains to him how the power functions, but it doesn't really help considering that he still has to unlock the God Key itself. Just to let you guys know, there's really no way for Vegeta to learn this, if you're wondering. God Key is something that can only be unlocked two ways: a ritual, which requires the spirit of a Yamoshi, and 6 Saiyans, which we don't have yet, or training in a realm under the guidance of an angel like Goku and Vegeta did to master God Key. But they don't have either. Something can still be done though. Vegeta thinks about it a lot. Goku tells him how Kami helped him understand this power and how to learn it. When Vegeta spoke with Kami, he got a blank stare. Kami wasn't fully trusting and told Vegeta that Goku was a special case. He doesn't know how to unlock the God Key within someone, just how to help control it. Though there is someone who can help Vegeta. Seeing his intentions are pure, Kami leads him to King Yama, which leads him to crossing Snake Way and meeting King Kai. While training with King Kai, Vegeta learns the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb, but even the training of this god isn't enough for him. King Kai introduces him to otherworld fighters like Pikkon. Pikkon becomes a rival for Vegeta, someone who he can actually strive to overcome. The power required to do so comes to Vegeta over time, but when in an all-out fight with Pikkon, Vegeta is knocked to the ground and trapped inside Pikkon's tornado attack. He starts to get cut all around, and in a moment of desperation and anger, his hair would turn golden and his eyes would turn blue. Vegeta unlocks the Super Saiyan form. This allows Vegeta to get out of the attack, though he passes out seconds later. He asks King Kai what that form was, in comparison to Goku's. King Kai searches for answers and learns of the Namekian Book of Legends. In it explains both forms. He tells Vegeta that what he has is the legendary Super Saiyan. What Goku has on the other hand is something much greater, the Super Saiyan God, a power that requires a ritual, but to his knowledge, Goku had nothing of that sort. Maybe he's just different, and Vegeta learns to accept that. He trains in Otherworld for some time, even experimenting Kaioken with Super Saiyan, but when he heads back, he and Goku are met with Trunks. Trunks had come back from the future to warn them of the androids and Goku's death. When he arrived, as did King Cold. He had been waiting to strike, but unfortunately for him, Trunks cuts him up, and Vegeta kills him with a new attack he calls the Final Flash. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of debate in the comments about how Trunks is even alive, how is this timeline any different? But you guys have to remember that Trunks is a constant. His timeline and the main timeline are different. So this what if only changes the main timeline, not Trunks' timeline, which is why Trunks is still the same. Moving on with the story though, Trunks then proceeds to leave, and Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo train for the android threat. When it comes to Gero this time around, he had gone about the androids the same way, creating androids 17 and 18 as the main weapon, but also 19 and 16 as full cyborg. He also had Project Cell to use in the future as a last resort. The differences being that all of them have the ability to use the same power Goku possessed, because this time around he has the DNA of the Goku who was born with God Key. Gero and 19 attack the city and the Z-Fighters confront them. Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo put their attention to Gero while Goku fights one-on-one with 19. Android 19 actually gives a fight to Goku. He's able to kick Goku around a little bit and absorb his energy. It doesn't help that Goku's hardfire strikes, forcing Krillin to retreat with him. 19 is too strong for the likes of Vegeta. Super Saiyan Kaioken isn't even enough. Piccolo is also winded out. He doesn't have half the power he did originally without the fusion with Nail. Gohan is left all alone, and when Gero and 19 fire a collective blast at him, his power explodes. His red hair turns blue for a split second. This spike in power allows him to best Gero by cutting his head off, and he proceeds to kill 19 with the Kamehameha. Gohan then passes out, and he's taken by Piccolo to Goku's house. This wasn't the end of it though. Cell from the future would still come back and absorb 17 and 18, and himself from the past to give him some extra power. This Cell would be just as confident in his abilities as the other one, so he gives the Z-Fighters 10 days to train up. He enters their mind and menacingly informs them in his villain monologue that he's going to utterly obliterate all of them, and the planet they reside on. He's going to instill fear like no other foe. Trunks would come back from the future, and he's surprised. So they stopped the androids, but they weren't the same androids from his timeline, and now there's a new guy who's way stronger than anyone before him. And he's going to, at this point, easily kill them if they don't get stronger quickly. He soon realizes that his timeline and their timeline is completely different. Goku heals up, and he knows exactly how to get stronger. The Room of Spirit and Time. He recognizes Gohan's strength and decides that since they're the one with this so-called God Key, they will be the ones to train in the room first and get as strong as they can. Inside, the two master Super Saiyan God, even more so. Unfortunately, there is no grade to this form, so the only way to go up is Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. This doesn't come to Goku just yet, which is why he's confused as to what Gohan's form was. He starts to focus on his son instead of his own power. Whatever he unlocked is the key to defeating Cell. But no matter how hard he tries, the power only comes out once, and it flees just as quickly. They exit, and though they are stronger, Goku still feels that they won't be able to defeat Cell. Or at least he won't. Vegeta and Trunks are able to master the grades of Super Saiyan, and Vegeta even stacks Kaioken on top. Eventually their time ends, and they're forced to face Cell head on. Goku takes him on first, and this fight is just as spectacular as Cell expected, but when his strongest Kamehameha doesn't work on Cell, Goku starts to get desperate. He tries to take him head on, but hand-to-hand combat wasn't working in his favor. Cell was just too much for Goku to take on. As this realization finally sets in, Goku gives up, and instead puts Gohan in the field. Gohan is shook. How could his father do this? He doesn't stand a chance. Piccolo screams at Goku to stop being a fool. They should all take him on at the same time. Maybe they'll stand a chance. But Goku won't budge. He doesn't give Cell a senzu though. He believes in Gohan, but he recognizes that Cell may be a hurdle best fought as weak as possible. Gohan tries his best to face Cell, and even though he does pretty good, Cell is just far too strong for him. He grips Gohan's body and starts to crush his bones in front of the Z fighters, smirking, knowing they can't do anything to hurt him. Piccolo shouts at Goku to do something, to step in. He's the only one that can. He's the only one that stands a chance. But when Goku stands his ground, Piccolo rushes in to help. Cell drops Gohan's body and elbows Piccolo's head into the dirt. He stands firmly above the Namekian and stomps his foot into Piccolo's head repeatedly. He crushes Piccolo's brain and splatters his blood in front of Gohan. That was the line that he shouldn't have crossed. Gohan's power erupts as he roars in sadness. His hair turns blue and he looks at Cell with a menacing glare. This was a far greater mistake than the one he made when killing 16. Gohan's power is an uncontrollable rage. He beats the ever-living hell out of Cell, stomping his head in just like he did to Piccolo, but leaving him right on the door to death, never letting him cross it. He continues to pummel the being down as Goku watches from the sidelines. He questions if he had done the right thing, was putting Gohan in the field knowing he was the only hope worth sacrificing his humanity. Goku appears in front of Gohan, grabbing his arm, telling him to end it already, but Gohan looks at Goku with a glare of anger. Goku actually terrified as he looks into the eyes of his son. Gohan looks at Cell and ends it with a Masenko. He grabs Piccolo's body, thinking he couldn't be revived. He doesn't even look at Goku. Gohan instead heads out to Mount Paozu and buries his friend, giving him a proper send-off. Goku tries to comfort him, but for now Gohan just needs to clear his head, and he needs some space. Vegeta talks to Goku, understanding where he was coming from, but maybe he can do something to help. While he was training with King Kai, he learned of a planet called Namek. That's how he found out about Goku's transformation. Since Piccolo was a Namekian, there's probably more like him on Namek. Who knows? Maybe they have Dragon Balls. Goku's willing to make the trip, but he makes it alone, knowing that he needs to think. He understands Gohan's pain, but he thinks that it needed to be done if they were going to save Earth. On his way, he mostly meditates, thinking of how to unlock the power Gohan has. It's not far off. It looks like it's just a combination of the God form with a lot of rage. When he arrives on Namek, Goku meets with Grand Elder Mori. Mori reads his mind and understands what Goku has to do is pure-hearted. He allows for Piccolo to be revived, and Gohan is ecstatic to be reunited. He smiles at the sky, knowing it was his father's doing, but he isn't ready to forgive just yet. Goku comes back, and about 7 years would pass. In this time, Gohan finds it in his heart to reconcile with his father. He also meets Videl and goes to school like he normally did. This would cause him to fall back on his training. Goten is also born in this time, and like with his previous son, Goku gives birth to another kid who has access to God Ki. Though, just like with Super Saiyan, the God form comes much easier to Goten than it did to the other two. Goten is just able to do it. This shocks Goku, but he just runs with it. Goku also managed to unlock Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan in this time after realizing it's simply a combination of Super Saiyan with God Ki, and he would simply call it Super Saiyan Blue for simplicity's sake. Vegeta would go through the traditional Super Saiyan routes and unlock Super Saiyan 2 and 3. Since he felt like he was extremely behind, he went to the Room of Spirit and Time. It had been upgraded, and in it, he managed to unlock the third stage of Super Saiyan, though he recognizes its weaknesses. When the 23rd World's Martial Arts Tournament is held, Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta are asked to help the Kais. After allowing for a small amount of Gohan's energy to be stolen, they chase Popovich and Yamu to the base. The difference being that when Gohan fights Dabura, he easily wins after using Super Saiyan God. Even if he slacked off and became extremely weak, God Ki is easily able to overcome any challenge Dabura presents. Vegeta may or may not become Majin here. I think it's unlikely, but even if he did, Goku can easily defeat him. So Babidi is swiftly defeated, and we move on to another time skip. In this one, Vegeta actually requests to go with the Kais and train with them. He had always been behind, and that weighed down on him. He started off solo and trained with King Kai, and now he wants to step it up. Shin agrees, as he helped defeat Babidi, so he offers up the Z-Sword. Vegeta easily pulls it out and continues to train with it, until of course it breaks. Elder Kai would come out, and even though he can offer ultimate to Vegeta, the Saiyan doesn't accept it. It just simply isn't in his nature to accept power-ups like this. Power-ups that aren't worked for or trained to achieve. Elder Kai smiles, and he decides to do his research on the Saiyans. What he discovers Vegeta may find interesting. He asks Vegeta if he would like to have his tail back. Vegeta never really thought about his tail as something to increase his power. Sure, he had the Great Ape, but it doesn't really ever increase his power to the level he wants it to. Elder Kai explains to him how his tail could allow him to access much greater power. He has access to all the Super Saiyan forms, but also the Great Ape. Through combining the two of them, Vegeta could step it up to another level. It just has to work out in his favor. He's a little out of practice, but once he gets the tail, he launches a Power Ball to turn into a Great Ape. Once he becomes one, he turns into a Super Saiyan, and this is extremely hard for him to control. However, it's all mental. Vegeta's mental fortitude is greater than most, and so he's able to do so with some trouble and effort. He begins to shrink as red fur coats his body. He powers up into a Super Saiyan 4. Vegeta is amazed at this new power and continues to train it, thanking the Elder Kai for his help. Vegeta goes to challenge Goku, who is extremely impressed with this new power. The two fight, going all out, with Goku using Super Saiyan Blue and Vegeta Super Saiyan 4. A fight that shakes the earth. Though they're almost equal, ironically in this story the roles are reversed. Goku is the one born with the power, and Vegeta is the one that is trained to get to the point that he's at now. A Kamehameha clashes with Vegeta's final Shine attack, and their blast explodes, knocking them both out of their transformations and out cold. For now, they'll consider each other even, but Goku was holding back ever so slightly. He not only wanted a good fight, but for Vegeta to feel accomplished, as he had achieved great power that wasn't simply handed to him. Eventually, Beerus would wake up in search of the Super Saiyan God. Luckily for him, Whis already knows of a Saiyan with God Ki. It only makes sense for an angel to keep track of beings who he sends power like that in. So Beerus would head out for Earth in search of Goku. We skip the ritual and all of the fights in between. Instead, Goku transforms straight into Super Saiyan God to fight Beerus. First, he uses his red-haired form, and he and Beerus have a battle that shakes the universe and destroys planets as their fists collide. Beerus ultimately bests him, but it's not over yet, as Goku uses Super Saiyan Blue to deflect Beerus' supernova. The God is surprised. This Saiyan has even more power to offer. After putting up quite a fight that impresses the likes of the God of Destruction, Goku is taken down. Vegeta would eventually train with Whis alongside Goku, and the two would go their separate ways in power-ups. Vegeta would finally have access to God Ki, but instead of striving to achieve Super Saiyan Blue, he instead tries to combine the God Ki with his Super Saiyan 4 form, a power that he had worked so long and so hard to get to. Maybe this power would finally be enough to best Goku. Speaking of, Goku has his own hurdle. Not having Kaioken this time around doesn't really give him anything further to strive for. He perfects Blue with the help of Whis, and then he's stuck. Whis has something to offer though: Ultra Instinct. This power can only come from complete mastery of movement, your body moving without having to think first. The principles of this are taught to Goku, but he struggles to get anywhere with it. Frieza would eventually get revived by the remainder of his soldiers, though instead of training for 4 months, he trains for 8. He attacks Earth, and the Z Fighters are able to defeat the army. They could have done that with their eyes closed if they wanted to, but Frieza himself is a threat that none of them can overcome. Gohan stands firmly in front of everybody, prepared to take him on. He tries to use Super Saiyan Blue, but because he had been out of practice for so long, he can barely even power up to God. Though Frieza is given a challenge, considering this is Gohan with God Ki and not just any mere Saiyan. Gohan would be able to give a good fight. Even though he's knocked down repeatedly, the half Saiyan just keeps getting up. He won't give up to Frieza. He won't give up to anyone. He needs to protect his family. He's able to break through for a moment and unlock Blue, but after a few good hits, Frieza starts to break him down with death beams. Due to training for 4 more months, he doesn't have the stamina problem he did originally. But Gohan's effort wasn't for nothing, as it gave Goku and Vegeta the time to arrive. Considering that Goku killed Frieza, Vegeta steps up to accept this challenge, and finally shows off his power. He starts at Super Saiyan 4 and begins to fight him. Just in Super Saiyan 4 though, he puts up a much better fight than Gohan did. Frieza's challenged, he's pushed back. Vegeta fires a Gallic gun which Frieza attempts to counter, but his attack is engulfed and he crashes back into the mountain. Vegeta gets behind him and punches Frieza into a rock formation before kicking him up to the sky and firing the final flash as he powers up to Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker to finish the job. Vegeta, showing off a glimpse of his power, shocked Goku. He realized that he needs to step up his training a little bit. He needs to unlock this Ultra Instinct thing quicker. Therefore, he tells Whis to put him in the God Dimension for a bit longer. However, this time, make it to where he can only move if his body is in full control. While he does this, Vegeta continues to train himself to master his Limit Breaker form. On Earth, Gohan recognizes that he needs to start training again, and who better to do it with than Piccolo. Once he does actually start training again, he's able to control Blue like he never lost the ability to do so. This would also boost Piccolo's strength greatly. He's not just training with a Gohan who has Ultimate, it's much more than that. It's God Ki. In Whis' staff, Goku is unable to move for a long time. The thing that eventually forces him to is lack of food and water. Whis had left some for him, but he still has to get to it. The only way to do that was to move. As a result, Goku became desperate when he couldn't, his mind annoyed, and his body weakened. But over time, he realized that he had to focus on keeping calm. let his body do the work while his mind stayed sharp and focused. Goku's entire power all throughout his life has required those 3 attributes, and now is no different. Eventually he was able to move and eat, but it would take weeks before he got somewhere with Ultra Instinct. We thought it would make sense to put Vegeta in the realm as well, but with the ability to move freely unlike Goku. While Goku is handicapped, Vegeta can train like he normally would. This would give Vegeta an edge no matter how hard Goku tried to fight. He was eventually able to access Ultra Instinct through his training, but Vegeta is still able to put up a decent fight. Not long after, Beerus would get a visit from Champa, his brother. The two of them decide to start a tournament because they both like food and competing. Goku and Vegeta would be the first on the team, followed by Piccolo and Gohan, who actually decides to make time. The last fighter would be Monaka, but I don't think Beerus needs to do that this time around. Considering Goku already is starting to access Ultra Instinct and Vegeta is already on his level, the two are rivals to the point that nothing else would drive them to get stronger than that rivalry is. So let's just say that they get Krillin on the team. Goku would be up first, and he would easily defeat Potamo by stretching him out of the ring. Frost would go into his final form, though Goku is able to keep up extremely easily in just his Super Saiyan form. But halfway through the fight, he starts to get dizzy and winded. Soon he finds himself on the ground, knocked out of the ring. Goku's confused, but he respects Frost for beating him and lets Piccolo take him on next. Surprisingly, however, even though Piccolo is much more powerful, Frost also bests him. This is when Jacko notices and points it out. Frost had a poison needle, and therefore he's about to get disqualified. Unfortunately for him, Vegeta isn't going to settle on that. He gets in the ring and beats the living hell out of Frost. Vegeta proceeds to beat Vegeta and teach Kappa Super Saiyan before ultimately defeating him. He then takes on Hit, and this opponent is unlike any other he's ever faced. Hit's time skip ability forces Vegeta to step it up, higher than Super Saiyan 4, higher than Super Saiyan God. He's forced into using Limit Breaker. As soon as this happens though, the scales start to tilt against Hit's favor. Vegeta starts to keep up with him. He's at the spot Hit was going to time skip before he even does it. He's too fast for even Hit, and at the same time, he's more powerful. Hit begins to improve, but without the stamina issue that Goku had using Kaioken, Vegeta is able to knock Hit out of the ring with the final flash. Unfortunately for Goku, he didn't get to show off Ultra Instinct's sign. Zeno arrives at the tournament ring and tries to befriend Vegeta, but he's uninterested. Goku steps in instead, and that goes about the same as it did. Some time would pass before future Trunks comes back to the past, injured and beaten to a pulp. As he heals up, Trunks opens his eyes to see the culprit. His father. Trunks goes to strike Vegeta, who catches the attack and proceeds to punch him back to knock some sense into him. What's happening? Why did you attack Vegeta? These are the questions that Bulma asks him. But before long, she gets the answers through a portal that opens up in the sky. From it comes Vegeta Black. Since it was Vegeta that fought the final battle, it ends up being Vegeta whose body Zamasu takes over. Vegeta steps up to fight his evil twin, and he isn't happy. Someone is acting like him and destroying his son's future, huh? Well, that won't slide. He has a quick fight to gauge his counterpart's power level, but once he sees nothing, he powers up into Limit Breaker and fires a final flash to obliterate him. Vegeta wouldn't really stretch this out. Someone is pretending to be him, and he wants to kill that person, so he does exactly that. Trunks would go to the future with Vegeta and Goku and some capsules to help rebuild. They locate New Namek, and Vegeta and Trunks travel to use the Dragon Balls and bring everyone back. While they're gone though, Goku encounters Zamasu. He questions what happened to Vegeta Black, to which Goku responds with the truth. He was killed for what he did. Zamasu doesn't take this lightly. He starts to attack Goku, and for the first time he actually gets to use his Ultra Instinct sign against an enemy. Goku easily dodges each and every blow, making the strikes hurt as much as possible. He fires a point-blank Kamehameha to kill him, and then proceeds to power down. But as he walks away, Zamasu is back and tries to strike him again. He's confused. What just happened? I just killed you. How are you alive? He tries to do it again, this time with a Destructo Disc. Zamasu is cut clean in half, but he comes back. What is happening? Zamasu then explains the whole story, but in reality, Goku can hold him off as long as he wants to. There's nothing Zamasu can really do to hurt him. He uses a communication device to talk with Vegeta and Trunks, telling them to use one of the wishes to reverse Zamasu's immortality. This works, and while everyone else is brought back, Zamasu is killed. They head home, and Goku eventually asks Zeno to create the Tournament of Power. The fighters this time around include Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo. Goten and Trunks would also be included this time around, as Goten has access to God Ki, and Trunks is just much more powerful as a result of his rivalry with Goten. I'm sure that Goku would still end up recruiting Frieza, as none of the Earthlings have any strength compared to them. Though he does see the value in martial arts and puts Tien, Krillin, and Roshi on their team. This makes for 10 fighters, and without a future Zeno, there will be no exhibition match. As the tournament starts, Goku stares down Jiren in hopes of getting a fight with him. He rushes for Toppo, but many fighters get in his way. Goku fights them off one by one before ultimately being attacked by Universe 9. The trio of dangers take on Goku 3v1 as the rest of Universe 9 approaches. Goten jumps in. Together the two power up into Super Saiyan God and defeat everyone in Universe 9 easily. They fire a father-son Kamehameha and defeat the trio of dangers, resulting in the erasure of Universe 9. Gohan, Piccolo, and the humans are surrounded by fighters from Universe 10, but together they all fight it out. Krillin uses the Solar Flare times 100 as Tien fires a Neo Tri-Beam. Gohan launches himself towards Omni, activating Super Saiyan God. The Universe 10 fighters tries to put up a fight, but Gohan is just too strong. He's defeated. Piccolo takes down their last fighter, Ruvault, with a Masenko. Universe 2's fighters, Ribrianne, Kakunsai, and Rosie all transform as they challenge Vegeta, Gohan, and Trunks. All three taking their stances, Vegeta goes blow for blow with Ribrianne, ultimately getting tired of her voice and just her work, because Brienne is probably the worst character in Dragon Ball history. So he decides to use Super Saiyan 2 and blast her out of the ring. Though before she's knocked out, she embiggens, revealing her giant form and stomping down on Vegeta. He powers up into Super Saiyan 4 right before the foot hits him and is able to flip her over. Krillin comes in with a Disruptor Disc, cutting the ground from under her while Vegeta fires a Gallic gun to send her through it. Goten is able to defeat his opponent once again through the use of Super Saiyan God, while Trunks has more trouble. While he does have Super Saiyan, Trunks is lacking God Ki, and so he's nearly knocked out, but Piccolo stretches his arm out to save him. Gohan runs in to defeat Rosie, which he does successfully. Krillin fights basically half of Universe 4. Without the help of 18, he's able to use his quick on-hand martial arts brain to best the opponents, though Frost would still get him. This would lead to Frieza intervening and making the same fake deal with Frost as he did initially. Eventually that leads to head against Gohan, where Frieza fakes a betrayal and defeats Frost with no issue. Master Roshi would go around and defeat fighters from Universe 4 also, using techniques like the Mafuba. He and Vegeta take on Universe 6, while Roshi ultimately tires out and is forced to exit the ring. Vegeta uses Super Saiyan 4 to overpower Batamo, sending him flying out of the ring. Without Batamo to cover his ears, Vegeta feels the burn of the words and is also defeated. Tien fights Hermira and bests the opponent until letting his guard down and ending the fight on a draw. Both of them are taken out. Universe 6's Caulifla and Kale take on Goku, which goes about the same with Jiren stepping in at the end, intriguing Goku more and more. Universe 11's Pride Troopers take on Gohan, Goten, Caulifla, Kale, and Trunks. The 5 Saiyans use their strongest forms in a full-on battle. Trunks bites the dust and isn't able to keep up. Gohan and Goten are the powerhouses with Super Saiyan God in their corner. Kale manages to control her Berserk Shade as she fires an energy blast, which combined with the other Saiyans is enough to best all of them. Toppo challenges Frieza to a duel, but just as the two start fighting, Jiren gets on the move. He eyes down Goku, and every fighter in the Tournament of Power bears witness. Goku looks at Jiren ready for what's to come. He goes into Super Saiyan, but Jiren doesn't even move. Super Saiyan God is enough to get him moving and start a fight, but Goku eventually has to take it up to Blue. The two start an all-out brawl, destroying parts of the ring, knocking out fighters as they go. They clash, going punch for punch. Goku's still on the losing front. Jiren begins to throw him through the rocks. He sends him flying through the pillar in the middle, only to meet him at the other end with an elbow. But as it comes for Goku, his hair turns silver and he dodges. Goku activates Ultra Instinct Sign. He lands a thunderous blow to the stomach of Jiren. Not long after, they're going blow for blow once more as Jiren takes it up. He's forced to use all his power due to Goku advancing Ultra Instinct, being even stronger than the one he used against Jiren in his third time accessing Omen. He has control over himself, being able to use both offense and defense. Goku moves calmly, nothing bothering him, moving without thinking. Whis smiles. He's done it. Goku and Jiren clash again, the shockwave from their fist pulsing throughout the other fighters. Before long, however, Jiren breaks through his limits, unlocking his awakened form, forcing Goku to go even further beyond. He unlocks the true version of Ultra Instinct. With this new power, Goku full sends it, taking Jiren out with himself. Now it's left to the rest of Universe 7 to win. Vegeta takes charge, attacking Toppo as he powers up into Super Saiyan 4. The two go blow for blow until Toppo realizes he's going to lose if he doesn't do it. He's their universe's last hope, and so he powers up and reveals his God of Destruction form. He grabs Vegeta's head, firing a Hakai at point-blank range. It engulfs the Saiyan, but inside he begins to charge up energy. A godlike aura coats his red one. Vegeta exhales and the Hakai vanishes. He powers up into Limit Breaker. One final duel to decide the fate of their universe. He goes toe-to-toe with God of Destruction Toppo. Any Hakai launched at him is either evaded or destroyed. He gets up close and fires a point-blank attack at Toppo, proceeding to fire a Gallic gun to knock him back. He runs back and charges all his energy up, using the final explosion. Vegeta defeats Universe 11's last fighter. Gohan takes on Caulifla and Kale together, and he activates Super Saiyan Blue to take them both on. He easily beats them, but in the end they use fusion to turn into Kefla. Gohan is now on the losing foot. He doesn't know what to do. He's backed into a corner by the fusion as she charges up her strongest attack. Piccolo comes in from behind and grabs onto her, but he's kicked away by Hit. Gohan sees Piccolo getting beat up. In the other direction, he sees Vegeta recovering from the fight with Toppo. Up ahead, he sees his father looking down on him with a smile. Gohan nods, standing up as he begins to charge his ki. He powers up a Kamehameha as he fires it to battle Kefla's attack. The beams clash midair, but Gohan's getting pushed back. He's on the edge of the ring when his eyes turn red and his hair turns white for a split second. Gohan roars, his power skyrocketing and Kefla going down as the Kamehameha engulfs her. He instantly loses this form he just accessed, wondering what that was. Piccolo and Goten team up on Hit, but his time skip may be too much. Using his abilities, Piccolo is able to predict where Hit will go, but it only helps to a degree. Goten is a heavy hitter, but Hit punches harder. He's sent flying out of the ring. Vegeta and Gohan are both weakened, but they walk up, standing next to Piccolo powering up into Super Saiyan. Together, the three of them charge at Hit. He improves his time skip and proceeds to use his time cage attack on Vegeta. Piccolo uses his arms to move Vegeta out of the way, but he gets hit instead. He's frozen in time without the ability to move. But just then, Frieza comes in, using his golden form. Vegeta powers up into Super Saiyan 4 as together the both of them charge for Hit. Gohan appears above him, punching him into the ground. Vegeta and Frieza charge forward, slamming into Hit with all their power and taking him through the ring. The two of them are knocked out with the last fighter opposing them. They've saved save their universe. But Gohan wants to save all of them, as he wishes for every universe to be brought back. The events of the Broly movie would probably be a little different. They might not need Gogeta, with Vegeta having Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker and Goku having control over Ultra Instinct. But regardless of that, Broly is befriended. After the fight, Goku and Vegeta look at each other, seeing how far they've come. They fist bump like the bros they are. Thank you guys for watching the story of if Goku is one with God Ki. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.